He was a star of the world. He could almost anything if he wanted to. Stevie Wonder. Da 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 da. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say I love you. Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode on this channel, and today we will be talking about Stevie Wonder. So let's get started. Now you all know who Stevie Wonder is. He's that guy dude with the best attitude. He's this guy! No kidding, he's this guy. And first of all, as much as I would like to admit that I am that dude with the glasses, with the cool glasses, I should say, it just seems that Stevie Wonder had a very good life in his own matters. But right now, let's talk about it. And a baby can only survive. A baby can only survive by being in the right conditions. And Stevie Wonder was born 6 weeks earlier than he was expected to be born. So he had to be in an incubator for almost 2 months. Over a month, by the way. And then there was too much oxygen in that incubator, so he lost his sight forever. His mother, very desperate, tried everything she could, even going to the church to fix his eyesight. Nothing worked. Eventually, she even wanted to donate her own eyes, yikes, to let Stevie see. And that is not the best idea, mother. And so, when Stevie wasn't able to see, and she accepted that, Stevie once said to his mother that maybe God wouldn't let me see, but wanted me to do something else. And that something else had to be with music, because at a young age he started bongo drumming. Then he started a cardboard drum kit, and he wore it out very quickly. And eventually he tried piano. And that's a pretty good thing. And at the age of 11 in 1961, he signed a deal with Motown. To be a professional singer with Motown. And Motown was his teacher in the professional singer world. And every day after school, he always went to Motown. However, since he was blind, he couldn't really see if the red light was on or not. So he usually went inside without knowing that that's the red light. So he usually ruined everyone else's. But no one could be mad at him for long because he was so sweet, I guess. He was happy. He was their happy and fun, sometimes annoying brother to the Motown family. And eventually, all of this has led to his final thing, where basically he was able to create his own music. Well, not by his own, by the way. And his hearing was way better than his eyes. He could see better than everyone else's, and guess better what something is without just looking at it. If he could, by the way, he couldn't see, so that made sense. If you drop something like a pencil, and he knew what a pencil is and what it sounded like, he could easily remember it and then just say it's a pencil. You drop a quarter. He can see the difference, hear the difference between the drop of a quarter and the drop of a dime. And he'd be able to answer all the objects of what you dropped. Okay, maybe not a laser machine onto the table. So once he got his Motown deal with Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown, who founded it in 1959, he was able to create a lot of hits. But his first and early ones were not hits, unfortunately. But then when they released, oh come on. When they released, I may not use that. Finger. Tips. part 2, it seems to work out in this part. I mean, when Fingerprints part 2 were released, everything was changed. This Fingertips part 2 just changed the whole entire industry of music. And he eventually way went up to the #1 list of Billboard magazines. Eventually creating a lot of hits such as I Just Called to Say I Love You, Living for a City, Superstition, STEVIE, Happy Birthday, Part-Time Lovers, I Wish, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, Duke, As, Fragile, Ribbon in the Sky, Higher Ground, Lately, I Was Made to Love Her, Overjoyed, Knocks Me Off My Feet, My Cherry Armor, Don't You Worry About a Thing, I'm Free, and a lot more. And that all went into his own world. Eventually, he went to work. He met Dr. Martin Luther King just a few hours before he was tragically killed, and decided to create and supported in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. National Holiday creation, which eventually inspired his song Happy Birthday. Eventually, Stevie Wonder got into a car crash which almost killed him. But he luckily was able to survive, and a year later, after the car crash, he was back into the music industry, and he was killing it. And so he didn't die. So that's a lucky part. And all it took for him to do all this was a bit of ingenuity and awesomeness. Even after graduating from a special school, he was still one of the most famous people in the whole wide world, and the most famous musicians in the world too. And I'm going to admit it, that this is one of the best things I've ever done in my whole entire life, is I have a favorite Stevie Wonder song, and that's I just called To Say I Love You. I'm pretty sure my mom also has that as her favorite Stevie Wonder song. And still, he's still living today, I hope. And he may be very old to just create enough music, but I'm also guessing that he'll be creating more music. I haven't heard any Stevie Wonder for years, new Stevie Wonder for years now. And right now, I'm just hoping that there will be at least one new Stevie Wonder song I could hear. From the 2020s, that is. And so yeah, that's the end of my Stevie Wonder intro. Hope you guys learned something new about Stevie Wonder, and everything that I just told you about is true and from reliable sources. Well, most of them, that is. And now that you guys made it to the end, how about giving me ideas on what I should do in my next videos? Like hosting a video on YouTube. You don't have to show me my face. How about you can cover your face with hashtag show and suggestions. Hope to see you guys in the next episode. Sign out. Peace. Subscribe.